Hello everyone, I am Alka1993 and welcome to this WWE predictions video. About a month ago we had the Royal Rumble event, my favorite WWE wrestling event of the year. And I made a prediction video for that on the day of the pay-per-view event, predicting the result of the Royal Rumble matches. Now I only mentioned the Royal Rumble matches themselves in the video, but I predicted all the other matches in the description of the video as well. And I ended up only getting one wrong, which is the men's rumble. I even got the women's rumble right, which is amazing. Still haven't gotten a perfect record on the pay-per-view yet, so let's see if we can change that with the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view event. Which probably still isn't going to be the easiest one, considering we have two Elimination Chamber matches, but we'll see. I'm going to go over every match that is going to happen tonight, or is set to happen anyway. That's on the match card. And I'm going to give you both my hopes and predictions for who will win each match. Starting us off with the Women's Tag Team Championship. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are the champions, and they're going to face off against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, who appreciate each other, who respect each other, and who teamed up after Reginald pinned Nia Jax last Friday. I love that. That was amazing. Go Reginald. This is in general the few intergender matches I think that would be cool, and Reginald's now been in two, and he pinned Nia Jax. That was cool. Anyway, I predict and hope actually for different reasons that Nia and Shayna will retain the titles. I'm not too big of a fan of them as a tag team, although lately they have grown on me a bit. But I predict Nia and Shayna will retain the titles. Then Sasha and Bianca can focus on the SmackDown Championship, or Bianca potentially still the Raw Women's Championship. But considering she's on SmackDown, it's a bit more likely that she goes for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That and her husband is on SmackDown, so that works a bit as well. That and we already have two other tag teams that have a confirmed title shot. It was given to Sasha and Bianca after last Friday on Ding Dong Hello on SmackDown. But we have the team of Naomi and Lana who have a title shot at some point in the future, and we have another team with a title shot with a set date, namely in 1.5 weeks on NXT. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, because they won the first ever Women's Dusty Cup, and especially Dakota v Shayna in that match is something that has been the thing in NXT for a while, and I'd love to see that match happen again. So that's why I hope Nia and Shayna will retain, but I also think they will retain because I don't feel like Sasha and Bianca would be together as a tag team much, especially considering they're sort of building up each other as potential opponents for WrestleMania. So Nia and Shayna win that one. Next matchup is one of the men's roster, the United States Championship. Bobby Lashley, the United States Champion, versus Keith Lee versus Riddle. Triple threat match. And I'm going to say Riddle wins the title. I was thinking Keith Lee. That also makes sense for Bobby Lashley to keep it. This is not the easiest one for me. I don't have a super clear feeling about it. But considering what Bobby Lashley's done to Riddle recently, either he's going to do it again, or Riddle is finally gonna break the curse, or whatever you want to call it, and take him out. Now, obviously, Keith Lee is involved, and Keith Lee will attack Riddle. Keith Lee will attack Lashley. Maybe Keith Lee will help Riddle break Lashley's hold, because the moment Riddle taps to, let's say, the Hurt Lock, obviously Keith Lee doesn't win. So maybe Keith Lee will help Riddle get out of it, and then Riddle kicks them both, and Riddle wins. But yeah, that's my prediction. Riddle is going to win the title. My hope is, I'm not sure, just not Keith Lee. Not that I don't like Keith Lee, but I feel like Bobby Lashley is awesome in that role as the United States Championship. I also kind of hope that he will go for one of the main championships. Hope also Riddle. I'd like to see Riddle as a champion. Yeah, hope also Riddle. So far the hopes and the predictions are the same. Won't be it for all of them. Next matchup is again in the women's side. Asuka and Lacey Evans for the Raw Women's Championship. I really like Lacey Evans. And I've said for a long time that I want Lacey Evans to be in the title picture. So my hope, straight up out there, Lacey Evans wins the title. However, she's pregnant. On Raw, she announced she's pregnant, and she didn't want to participate in what was, I think, a tag team match at the time. Her and Peyton Royce against Charlotte and Asuka. And then Ric Flair goes, "Ooh, why didn't you call me daddy?" Sort of suggesting that Ric Flair might be the dad. So maybe in storyline, there's going with that for a while until Lacey's actually pregnant, and then they're just gonna forget about it. But I've heard, haven't had it confirmed anywhere, but I've heard that Lacey is actually pregnant, like standard pregnant with her husband. And then, for one, it doesn't make sense for her to wrestle much, if it is true. And then it also doesn't make sense for her, one, to even wrestle Asuka, and two, to win the championship, because then she doesn't wrestle a lot, which doesn't make sense with the pregnancy. They've set up the pregnancy in a storyline, although it hasn't been super clarified whether that's a joke or not. If she's pregnant, it's still early pregnancy. But considering she refused to even get in the match with Charlotte and Asuka back on Raw last week, whether she's actually pregnant or it's just for storyline, I don't expect this match to even take place. So I'm making a prediction that I don't make normally, but it's possible to happen, therefore I can't predict it. Asuka versus Lacey Evans. Hope Lacey Evans wins. Prediction, match gets cancelled. There is no match. Or at least Lacey refuses to fight and therefore loses, but my main prediction is match gets cancelled. It doesn't happen. Maybe Asuka will have a new opponent suddenly on the day itself. That could happen, but Asuka versus Lacey doesn't happen. Then, first of the Elimination Chamber matches, the one on SmackDown side. But why isn't there a women's one? I understand that if you have a Raw one and a SmackDown one, that makes sense. But there's two men's Elimination Chamber matches. Where's my women's chamber? I understand that Shayna is in the tag team picture right now, so you don't want to put Shayna in that chamber. And she obliterated people last year. But I find it really... if bad is not really the word, but I would have really loved to see a women's match in the chamber. I really do. I find it's kind of annoying that quite annoying actually that there's two men's matches and not um a women's match. The thing that Adam Pearce set up where McIntyre has to defend it and then Roman would have had to do it until he changed it. That seems cool and that works for me. Then put a third chamber match in, but I guess for the gimmick you only do two of them. So I don't know. I don't like that there's no women's match. But yeah, the Elimination Chamber match on SmackDown side. Corbin, Owens, Cesaro, Bryan, Zayn, and Uso. I found this one the hardest to predict. I'm going to say it's not Sami, it's not Daniel Bryan, and it's not King Corbin. Leaving Cesaro, Owens, and Uso. My hope? Cesaro wins, because I like Cesaro a lot, especially in the last 2 months. And also for the same reason, like he had that build up and that chain of a few victories before the Royal Rumble, and that's why I predicted him to win the Rumble, which he didn't. But I'm still gonna predict Cesaro. This is another prediction. Hope that's the same. Cesaro wins the Chamber. I could see Uso doing it, which will make Uso versus Roman Reigns later that night. But with how Uso has seemed very strong on Roman's side and really just kicking and punching anyone that's even remotely in the way of disrespecting Roman, I don't expect Uso versus Roman to be that great. Cause otherwise, eventually maybe Uso does go in against Roman again, but I don't see it happening right now. Kevin Owens could, considering they've had 3 title matches, and Kevin, in some sense, should have won all 3 times until there was intervention. The first 2 times by Uso, the 3rd time by Paul Heyman. That Roman got rid of the official. That's just smart by Roman, but Paul Heyman then got him loose. So Owens should have won all 3 times. So I could also see Owens winning it. The thing is, if Owens wins it, so I'm predicting Cesaro, but if Owens wins it, 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 I'm predicting Cesaro, but if Owens wins it Owens wins the championship later that night too. Because then, if he, having been weakened already by the Elimination Chamber match, can still beat Roman, then that's a statement that, heck yeah, he's great. Because so far he's lost 3 times because of outside interference, where he should have won. So I feel that could be a build-up as well. So it's either Cesaro or Owens. So I've already said Cesaro, I'm not going to change my mind, but now that I think about it more, Owens could make sense, but only if he wins the championship. Speaking of the championship, Roman Reigns defends his championship against whoever wins the chamber. I said I hope Cesaro wins the chamber, therefore it's Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. Thing is, they haven't had any story build-up between the two of them. At all. So that's why that match maybe doesn't make as much sense, although maybe this is the start of Cesaro going towards the Universal Championship. So if Edge chooses the WWE Championship for WrestleMania, or at least not the Universal one, then Cesaro having a match with Roman here and then having a proper match at WrestleMania, maybe. I'm going to predict Roman retains his title. I hope it changes, just because I'd like to see whether it's Cesaro or Owens, which are the two that is one of them two, one of those two that faces Roman. I expect. I like Cesaro a lot. I hope he wins, and I hope Owens wins because he deserves it, considering what's been set up in the storyline. So I hope that Roman loses it to one of those two. But I predict Roman will keep it at least until WrestleMania. And then finally we have the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match, which I expect to be the main event, because I don't expect... I could see Roman's match be the main event, but then it's against a tired opponent. So maybe it's the main event if one of them, if Roman gets beaten or something. But I expect that at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, one of the Elimination Chambers is the main event. And it doesn't make sense for the SmackDown's one to be the main event, because there's a match after it. So, WWE Championship for the main event. McIntyre, Orton, Styles, Hardy, Sheamus, Kofi Kingston. Great seeing Kingston back. I don't expect he will win. My prediction for that Elimination Chamber match is Sheamus wins the title. Now, it has been said Sheamus and McIntyre, they said they'd have that 1v1, but they never had it. So I'm going to make an added prediction to Sheamus wins the title, and saying that, we know Sheamus will come in last, because he won the gauntlet last Monday. So McIntyre and someone else will be in the ring as the only two remaining when Sheamus comes out of his pod. The other guy is eliminated, the other non-McIntyre and Sheamus one, whoever it is. And then it's McIntyre at still quite high energy versus Sheamus who's fresh. And then we sort of have that 1v1 that was promised. It's not true 1v1, but it's there. And that's what I'm predicting and hoping. Edge's decision, though, does make me think about this a bit. Because if Edge chooses the WWE Championship for WrestleMania, then I feel that 1v1 between Sheamus and McIntyre has to happen for the championship. So if Edge picks the WWE Championship, then that match has to happen before WrestleMania, which is still 2 months away. So either it happens on Raw at some point, because I don't think there's another pay-per-view before WrestleMania. I don't think so. So then it either happens tonight like I predicted, McIntyre is still pretty fresh and Sheamus being fresh, or McIntyre retains, and then it's McIntyre versus Sheamus at WrestleMania, but then Edge has to pick someone else. But my prediction is Sheamus wins it. And I love McIntyre, and I think he's been an amazing champion for nearly a year now. Sure, he's lost it for like a week to Orton, but then he got it back, so still nearly a year. So I'd like to see McIntyre retain it, but I'd also like to see another champion. I don't want to see Orton have it again, because I've had enough of Orton versus McIntyre. I feel like Orton's only in there so that he can be in the spotlight, which can give Alexa Bliss and Fiend more spotlight for more of that storyline. Like that happened during the Gauntlet as well. So I'd expect Orton to do it. I don't expect AJ, not AJ Lee. That's someone else. AJ Styles or Hardy to get it. Um, and you have Kofi Kingston. I don't expect Kofi will do it. Sorry, no Kofi Mania #2. So it's that either McIntyre or Sheamus. As long as the 1v1 happens, I just hope it's one of them. Either McIntyre retains, we get the 1v1 later, or Sheamus wins in a 1v1 now. So I'm gonna my hopes and predictions are a lot of the same. I'm just gonna say Sheamus wins it. But my hope is Sheamus wins it in a 1v1 against McIntyre at the end of the Chamber match. Also, final prediction, because it can happen, Miz does not cash in. He took himself out of the Chamber match, so he could cash in. So potentially he does, and then he fails or something, and then the match happens at WrestleMania anyway. I don't know. I honestly still hope, in terms of the contract, that Otis gets it back. I really want to see Otis with that contract. Miz has it up, but he keeps talking his mouth. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to cash in, blah, 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 blah. I'm not a fan of that. I hope Otis gets it back. I predict Miz will not cash in tonight. Those are my predictions. Let me know in the comments if you agree with the predictions, what all of your predictions and hopes are for this pay-per-view event. And let's have some fun watching the Elimination Chamber tonight. Goodbye.